Okay, so staying on the topic of writers. So, in the past, I would say 3 to 4 months, um, AI has really taken, as we all know, artificial intelligence is one of those things that is, of course, there was a Steven Spielberg movie many years ago called AI, Artificial Intelligence, with Haley Joel Osment. But it's taking a very interesting turn. And now you can do things with AI that you couldn't do even 5 years ago. And so, according to um, Variety, uh, the WGA, or the Writers Guild of America, would actually allow artificial intelligence in script writing. And, as long as the writers maintain credit. So, this comes from Variety. The Writers Guild of America has proposed allowing artificial intelligence to write scripts, as long as it does not affect writers' credit or residuals. The guild had previously indicated that it would propose regulating the use of AI in the writing process, which has recently surfaced as a concern for writers who fear losing their jobs. But contrary to some expectation, the guild is not proposing an outright ban on the AI technology. Um, Instead, the proposal would allow a writer to use Chat GPT to help a script without having to share writing credit or divide residuals. Or a studio executive could hand the writer an AI generated script to rewrite or polish, and the writer would still be considered the first writer of the project. In effect, the proposal would treat AI as a tool, like Final Draft or a pencil, rather than a writer. It appears to be intended to allow writers to benefit from the technology without getting dragged into credit arbitrations with software manufacturers. The proposal does not address the scenario in which an AI program writes a script entirely on its own without help from a person. The guild the guild's proposal was discussed in the first bargaining session on Monday with the Alliance of Motion Pictures Television Producers. Three sources confirmed the proposal. It's not yet clear whether the AMPTP, which represents the studios, would be receptive to the idea. The WGA proposal states simply that AI generated material will not be considered, quote, literary material or, quote, source material, end quote. Those terms are key for assigning writing credits, which in turn have a big impact on residual compensation. Literary material is a fundamental term in the WGA's basic agreement. It's what a quote writer end quote produces, including stories, treatments, screenplays, dialogue, sketches, etc. If an AI program cannot produce literary material, then it cannot be considered a writer on the project. Source material refers to these things like novels, plays, or magazine articles on which a screenplay may be based. So essentially like an adapted screenplay. If a screenplay is based on source material, then it is not considered, quote, an original screenplay, end quote. The writer may also get a screenplay by credit rather than a written by credit. A written by credit entitles the writer to the full residual for the project, while a screen by credit only gets 75%. By declaring that Chat GPT cannot write, quote, source material, end quote, the Guild would be saying that a writer could adapt an AI short story and still get full, quote, written by credit. Some scenarios may be far fetched, but technologically advances can present some of the thorniest issues in bargaining, as neither side want to concede some advantage that may be consequential in future years. AI could also be used to help write questions on Jeopardy or other quiz show audience participation shows. SAG AFTRA have also raised concerns about the effect on AI on performers, notably around losing control of their image, voice, and likeness. The WGA is set bargaining for the next 2 weeks before reporting back to members on the next steps and a potential strike. The contract expires on May 1st. Okay, let's talk about this. This is a big thing. This is a big, big, big thing. Because essentially what you're wanting there is you want bots, okay, to come up with ideas. When the human element is taken away, and this is what and we were just talking about Aaron Sorkin a minute ago. Aaron Sorkin is one of those guys that is an amazing writer. And whether it's an adapted screenplay, like A Few Good Men, or an original, okay, he knows what he's doing. And this is why it takes years and years and years to craft a screenplay. That being said, I think that when you start to have artificial intelligence, I'm not going to say take over, assist, okay, that loses the human element of it. And I think that you have to ask yourself, at what point do look, all you got to do is give them an inch and they'll take a mile. I'm not saying it's immediate, but it will be soon. Okay. That being said, I can't see the WGA, which, by the way, I mean, it's hard enough to actually get your show made. I can't see them actually um, saying, oh, sure. Now, in the article, it states, and this is the difference between, you know, if it is a tool, okay, if they can come up with basic um, guidelines, and I'll give you an example. If they can come up with a character, okay, that is, let's say, a male in his 40s, brown hair, brown eyes, okay, fine. Let the writer then turn around and fill in the blanks, okay? What kind of body frame does this person have? Do they, you know, do they smoke? Do they drink? Do they, do they like sports? Do they, fill in the background information. If you want to just have it for that, that's fine. Now, let me be clear. I have no problem with quiz shows using AI. No problem. Okay? Absolutely no problem. Because, like Jeopardy is a perfect example. Because they are coming up with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of questions or answers or to the questions. That's fine. Okay? If you want to have this on game shows, okay, that's cool. As long as it's not going to predetermine the results. Okay? But beyond that, I have no problem with that. When we get into an area, a gray area, that an AI, okay, let's say it's Chat GBT, can actually start to create complete and total scripts. What do we do? I mean, obviously it's not going to have the same amount of detail as, let's say, an Aaron Sorkin or, pick any other good writer you want. But where does it? I mean, because essentially, okay, you're taking away jobs from the writers, and I don't understand how the WGA would even want this. Now, let me be clear once again, okay? Let me be crystal clear. I have no problem this is a tool. If they want to use this as a tool, fine. That's great. But when we get into the problem of full scripts, that's when I really have to start worrying about is AI going to really start to be that big of a deal throughout the industry? And the other question you have to ask too is, how does this change the industry, right? How does this change techno basically, how does this change the industry? Because if you're not having humans doing it, then it's not going to be worth it. I don't want to watch a movie that was written by a friggin' robot. I don't. I want to watch somebody, painstakingly write a script and it gets rewrite after rewrite after rewrite. Can you imagine a Quentin Tarantino script that was done by a bot? I kid, but there's a possibility that this could really damage the industry. And look, if you're going to have people as frivolous as the suing over trailers because a certain person or a certain image is not in a trailer, and that could legitimately change how movie studios create and sculpt movie trailers, you're telling me that it's okay that we have a bot or artificial intelligence writing full scripts? Give me a break. So, once again, going back to what I was saying, I think that what you have to do, okay, is use this as a tool. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the how it's used and why it's used, right? Because I know the WG, I don't know personally, obviously, there's multiple sources, but they don't want this. And I don't blame them because eventually they're going to be out of a job. And it's hard enough to get, full credit as it is. So, anyways, it's a fascinating topic. And, I'm sure we're going to be hearing much more about this in the future. What do you guys think? Do you think AI should be used in creation of movies, television, streaming shows? If so, how do you think it should be used and why? Would you give the writers full credit no matter what? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I'm really, really fascinated to hear this.